You step off the transport shuttle, the cold wind of San Francisco biting at your face. You arrive at the gates of Starfleet Academy with nothing but a target on your back, knowing you will be broken down and rebuilt just to survive your first year. To climb this hierarchy, you will trade your youth for the stars and your safety for absolute command. Could you survive the terrifying transition from a disposable cadet to the Fleet Admiral, orchestrating a full-scale intergalactic war? We are going beyond the atmosphere, into the deep black, to see if you have the grit to earn your pips. In a universe where the margin for error is zero, the hierarchy here is forged in the vacuum of space, and it is time to claim your spot. Feel the cold vibration of the deck plating beneath your boots as you navigate the deadliest political and tactical environments. In the Alpha Quadrant, one wrong calculation ends your journey in a brilliant flash of plasma, but the right play puts you in command of the most advanced starships in the United Federation of Planets, from a terrified ensign to a cold-blooded tactician. This is your life now. Level 1, the cadet. You are 18 years old. You are standing in the shadow of the Golden Gate Bridge, looking at the sprawling, pristine campus. Starfleet Academy in Fort Baker. The orientation officer does not smile. He does not welcome you. He looks at the incoming cadets and tells you that space is a hostile, unforgiving vacuum that absolutely does not care about your dreams of exploration. The training is an agonizing 4-year crucible. You wake at 0500 hours. You study astrophysics, temporal mechanics, stellar cartography, and the prime directive, the absolute unyielding law of non-interference. But the books are the easy part. The real test is psychological. In your 3rd year, they put you in the simulator, the Kobayashi Maru. You are seated in the center chair of a simulated bridge. A civilian freighter is trapped in the neutral zone, bleeding atmosphere, begging for help. If you enter the zone to save them, you violate treaties and trigger a war with the Klingon Empire. If you stay back, you sit in absolute silence and listen to the frantic screaming comms. As 300 innocent people die in the cold dark, you try to fight, you try to negotiate, you try to route auxiliary power to the shields. None of it works. The simulator bridge sparks, the screens go red, and you die. You fail. Every single cadet fails. Because the test is not designed to be won. The test is designed to force you to look at your own death, to experience the absolute terror of a no-win scenario, and to see if you still have the nerve to put the uniform on the next morning. You don't sleep that night, you stare at the ceiling. But the next morning, you put the uniform back on. That is the only passing grade that actually matters. Level 2, the ensign. You are 22 years old, you graduate, and they pin a single hollow gold pip to your collar. You are an ensign, the absolute lowest commissioned officer rank in Starfleet. You are assigned to a deep space exploratory vessel, a massive starship operating on the very edge of charted territory. You thought you were going to sit on the bridge and discover strange new worlds. You don't. You spend your days crawling through the suffocating, narrow Jefferies tubes, recalibrating plasma relays, and scrubbing EPS conduits. You are the grunt of the cosmos. You follow orders issued by people who don't even know your first name. You work 14-hour shifts in engineering, where the ambient heat of the warp core makes your uniform stick to your spine. You learn very quickly that the romanticized idea of Starfleet is a civilian myth. Reality is relentless, exhausting maintenance. Out here, a microscopic fracture in a hull plate or a misaligned deflector shield means 300 people get boiled alive by cosmic radiation in a matter of seconds. Your first real crisis happens on a Tuesday. A localized spatial anomaly violently rocks the ship. The gravity plating fails. The inertial dampeners overload. You are thrown against a bulkhead, tasting your own blood. The ship goes to red alert. The klaxons scream. You don't panic. You grab a hydro spanner and manually lock down the magnetic seals on the antimatter containment unit while the deck pitches beneath you. You save the ship from a warp core breach. Nobody throws a parade. Your supervisor simply nods, hands you a diagnostic pad, and tells you to sweep the secondary relays. Out here, surviving is just doing your job. Level 3, Lieutenant Junior Grade. You are 25.
The hollow pip becomes a solid gold pip, and a second hollow pip is added beside it.
You are a Lieutenant Junior Grade. You are no longer just maintaining the ship. You are a specialist. You have earned a seat at a console on the bridge, operating tactical or flight control. You just start to see the bigger picture, and that picture is terrifying. You are introduced to the brutal, unyielding reality of the Prime Directive, General Order Number 1. Your ship orbits a Class M planet, inhabited by a pre-warp civilization. A tectonic shift is triggering a massive supervolcano that will wipe out their entire species in less than 4 days. You run the tactical simulations. you look at the captain and tell him that with 3 quantum torpedoes and a focused deflector pulse, you can stabilize the fault line and save 2 billion lives. The captain looks at the view screen, his face like stone, and says no. Starfleet law prohibits interference in the natural development of an alien civilization. You sit at your console, your hands shaking with absolute fury, and you watch the atmospheric sensors register the ash clouds covering the planet. You listen to the silence of 2 billion people burning to ash, and you are forced to do absolutely nothing. You go back to your quarters that night, tear off your uniform, and stare at the mirror. You realize that serving the United Federation of Planets requires a level of emotional detachment that feels dangerously close to losing your humanity. Level 4, the lieutenant. You are 28. 2 solid gold pips. You are a full lieutenant. You are not just a specialist anymore. You are a shift manager. You supervise a team of ensigns and non-commissioned crewmen. You are responsible for their training, their efficiency, and their lives. The era of peaceful exploration is quietly dying. The threat of the Borg and the Dominion is looming. Starfleet is secretly militarizing. The shipyards at Utopia Planitia, orbiting Mars, have doubled their production. You are pulled off the exploratory vessels and assigned to a heavy cruiser. Your first taste of real combat is a border skirmish. The engagement is brutal, fast, and completely devoid of glory. The ship takes a direct hit to the port nacelle, the bulkheads buckle. An ensign you trained, a 22-year-old frilled kid from Earth, is caught in a plasma fire. He burns to death, screaming, while you're locked behind emergency force fields, unable to reach him. When the battle ends, you have to write the official report. You have to write the letter to his parents. You sit in your quarters, staring at the blank screen, trying to find the words to explain why their son had to die for a border dispute over a rock floating in deep space. There are no good words. You write the letter, you seal that grief inside a dark box in your mind, and you report for your next shift. Level 5 Lieutenant Commander. You are 33, 2 solid pips, 1 hollow. You are a Lieutenant Commander, a department head. You are the Chief of Security, or the Chief Engineer. You operate at the strategic level of the ship's daily functions. You are the barrier between the command staff and the enlisted crew. When the ship is in crisis, the captain asks for a miracle, and you are the one who has to tear that miracle out of the physics of the ship. But you also become the enforcer of Starfleet's rigid discipline. An officer under your command makes a critical error during a stealth reconnaissance mission, breaking radio silence to transmit a frequency to his dying wife back on Earth. It is a deeply human, compassionate mistake, but it exposes the ship's position to hostile sensors. You are called into the observation lounge by the Judge Advocate General Officers, the JAG. You are forced to stand in a sterile room and testify against your own man. You watch his career completely disintegrate as he is stripped of his rank and sentenced to a penal colony. He looks at you with profound betrayal. You look back with a cold, blank expression. You realize that at this level, loyalty to the uniform entirely supersedes loyalty to the individual. You enforce the regulations because the regulations are the only thing keeping chaos from swallowing the ship. You have traded your empathy for operational efficiency. And the worst part is, you know you made the right call. Level 6, the commander. You are 38. 3 solid pips. You are a commander. You are the executive officer, the XO, the first officer of a Federation starship. You are the absolute spine of the vessel. The captain is the face, the visionary, the diplomat. You are the ruthless, pragmatic engine that makes the ship function. The captain commands the mission. You command the people. The Dominion War violently erupts, shattering the utopian illusion of the Federation. The entire Alpha Quadrant is plunged into the deadliest conflict in galactic history. Starfleet transitions from a peacekeeping armada into a desperate, bleeding military force. You are deployed to the front lines. The casualty reports flooding in on your secure datapad are incomprehensible. Ships you served on, crews you served with, completely vaporized in matter-antimatter explosions. You are forced to lead an away team down to a muddy, freezing planet to hold a critical communications relay against an advancing wave of Jem'Hadar soldiers, genetically engineered killing machines who do not need to eat, sleep, or feel fear. You dig into the frozen dirt. The artillery bombardment lasts for 14 hours. Your team is terrified, shivering, and looking to you for a reason to keep fighting. You walk the trench line while plasma rounds vaporize the rock above your head. You don't promise them they will live because they won't believe you. You look them in the eyes and tell them that if they fall back, the entire sector falls. You order them to hold a line that mathematics says they cannot hold, and they do, because you ordered it. Half of them die in the mud, You survive when you are finally beamed back up to the ship, covered in ash and the blood of your own officers. The captain asks if the objective is secure. You simply nod. You go to your quarters, stand in the sonic shower, and you can't wash the feeling of the mud off your skin. Level 7, the captain. You are 45. 4 solid gold pips. You have reached the center seat. You are the captain of a Federation starship. To the cadets at the Academy, you are a living legend. You possess absolute unquestioned authority over hundreds of lives. When you sit in the command chair, your word is literal law. But the reality of the center seat is absolute crushing isolation. You can no longer be friends with the crew. You cannot show fear, you cannot show doubt, and you cannot show exhaustion. During the darkest days of the war, you are assigned to a massive fleet action. Starfleet is launching an unyielding assault. To retake a critical sector, you command your ship in a massive armada of over 600 Federation and Allied vessels. The visual space outside your view screen is a chaotic, apocalyptic nightmare of phaser fire, exploding warp cores, and silent spinning debris. You watch an Allied starship to your port side take a direct hit to its bridge, completely incinerating its command's crew. You know that the captain of that ship, you attended his wedding, you do not flinch, you do not grieve. You calmly order your tactical officer to lock phasers and return fire. Your ship takes heavy damage. The life support fails on decks 4 through 7. You know there are 40 crew members trapped on those decks. The chief engineer tells you that if you don't seal the bulkheads and vent those decks to space, the fire will reach the antimatter pods and destroy the entire ship. You have exactly 3 seconds to make the decision. You order the decks vented. You personally, intentionally kill 40 of your own people to save the rest. The war is eventually won. But you do not celebrate. You sit alone in your ready room, staring out the window at the cold stars, carrying the ghosts of everyone you had to sacrifice. The center seat is not a throne, it is an electric chair, and you have to sit in it every single day. Level 8, the Admiral. You are 52. The pips are replaced by the oak leaf of a flag officer. You are a rear admiral. You are pulled out of the center seat and sent behind a desk at a massive starbase. You no longer command a single ship. You command entire sectors of space. You oversee logistical supply chains, ship repairs, and troop deployments. The visceral, immediate reality of space exploration is gone, replaced by a suffocating bureaucracy. You sit in pristine, climate-controlled briefing rooms, arguing with Federation politicians and planetary ambassadors. You deal with the devastating aftermath of galactic conflicts. You review battle reports, where hundreds of Allied ships were lost, tens of thousands of lives extinguished in a single afternoon. To the public, it is a tragedy. To you, it is a logistical nightmare. You have to figure out how to stretch a depleted fleet, how to crew new starships with terrified, fresh-faced cadets who are being rushed out of the Academy 2 years early. You review the casualty lists on a glowing screen. You stop reading the names, because the names will break you. You just look at the numbers. You have become the very thing you used to hate when you were an ensign, a distant brass officer making decisions on a spreadsheet. While other people bleed in the dark, a captain under your command refuses a direct order to abandon a colony world, staying behind to evacuate civilians. His ship is destroyed. The public calls him a hero. You have to court-martial his surviving executive officer for insubordination. You enforce the cold, rigid structure of Starfleet Command, because without that structure, the Federation collapses. Level 9, the Shadow Commander. You are 58. You are a Vice Admiral. You command entire fleets. You are the tip of the spear for Starfleet's military and exploratory might. You report directly to the Commander-in-Chief. The idealism of your youth is completely burned away. You begin to deal with the absolute shadows of the Federation. You are introduced to the existence of Section 31, an autonomous, clandestine intelligence agency that operates completely outside the boundaries of Federation law and ethics. They answer to no one. They engineer biological plagues, manipulate foreign governments, and assassinate political rivals. They justify their existence by claiming they do the horrific things necessary to allow the citizens of the Federation to sleep peacefully in their utopian beds. A Section 31 operative sits in your office. He wears a plain black uniform with no rank insignia. He slides a datapad across your desk. It is a plan to destabilize a rival star empire by intentionally feeding false intelligence. That will lead to a civil war, saving millions of Federation lives, but slaughtering millions of aliens. He needs your authorization to move fleet assets to cover the operation. You stare at the pad. You know that if you sign it, you are betraying every single principle Starfleet was founded upon. You are violating the very oath you swore 35 years ago. But you also know that if you don't sign it, a future war will cost the lives of millions of your own sailors. You sign the document, the operative takes it and vanishes. You pour yourself a glass of synthetic whiskey. You are the architect of galactic survival, but you realize that you have completely lost your own soul in the process. Level 10, Fleet Admiral. You are 65. You have reached the absolute pinnacle of the hierarchy. You are the Fleet Admiral, the Commander-in-Chief of Starfleet. You operate out of Starfleet headquarters in San Francisco. You look out your massive window. At the exact same Golden Gate Bridge you stood beneath when you were 18 years old. You command a fleet of over 30,000 starships. You manage the defense, diplomacy, and exploration of over 150 member worlds. When the Federation president needs to know if the human race will survive the next major crisis, they look at you. You possess unimaginable, galaxy-spanning power, but you are completely trapped in a golden cage of politics, liability, and unspeakable secrets. You don't explore strange new worlds anymore. You don't seek out new life. You sit in classified bunkers and decide which worlds will receive medical relief and which worlds will be left to die. Because of resource shortages, you are the grand orchestrator of a machine that consumes the youth and idealism of millions of officers. To maintain the illusion of paradise, you look at the medals on your chest, and you know exactly how much blood was spilled to earn every single one of them. Level 11, the cycle. You are 70. You submit your resignation. There is a massive, highly publicized ceremony at the Academy. Politicians make grand speeches about your bravery, your tactical brilliance, and your unwavering dedication to the United Federation of Planets. They call you a hero. You nod. You smile for the cameras, and you hand over your rank insignia. You walk out of the gates of Fort Baker. The air is still thick with sea salt and the tang of ozone. You walk down to the bay and look up at the sky. You see the faint, brilliant streaks of starships entering orbit, heading out into the deep, terrifying blackness of the cosmos. And somewhere behind you, a transport shuttle touches down. A line of 18-year-old kids steps out. They are carrying duffel bags. They are looking around with wide, terrified, hopeful eyes. They have memorized the manuals. They think they are going to boldly go where no one has gone before. They think the uniform is a promise of adventure. They have absolutely no idea about the Kobayashi Maru, the warp core breaches, the mud of the trenches, or the crushing infinite isolation of the center seat. You were them once. Now they are you. The machine never stops. The cycle never ever ends.